Alright guys, welcome back to another Fortnite video, and in this one, we're going to be going over a ton of fun stuff in the brand new update that just dropped this morning at like 4 a.m., 4 or 5 a.m. I was actually up playing it a little bit, but within this update, there were a bunch of secret changes. Most of us know that like a new burst rifle is in the game, a new legendary and epic version, but there's also a bunch of other changes that you guys probably didn't know about. Stuff like brand new Apple consumable items, little funny secret in Tilted, and more, and we are going to be going through every single one. So yeah, if you guys find this helpful, be sure to smack that like button down below. I honestly really appreciate it, and it helps me out a ton, encourages me to make more of these. And also real quick, thank you guys so much for 500,000 subscribers. That's honestly a crazy number, and I just want to say thanks to you guys. Thanks to the big man upstairs for this awesome opportunity. And you guys already know, gotta be thankful to the family for being supportful and all of that great stuff. So yeah, thank you guys so much, but let's jump right on into the video with the very first tip. Alright guys, so let's start off with sort of a little one, but this one is actually pretty interesting as well. So this first one I wanted to go over is actually a buff to the suppressed SMG. Yeah, that gun that was honestly one of the worst guns in the game. It stayed in here for so long. People thought it was going to get, vaulted a long time ago, like when it first came out, because it was practically useless. Going back over the patch notes for it, it did 17 damage for the common variant, and uncommon was 18 damage, and also rare was 19, but usually you got that 17 one, and it just took so long to get kills. I think it took about like 6 shots on somebody without shields, so it was definitely pretty bad. But yeah, it got a little bit of a buff, so now like for the common variants, they can eliminate a player without any shields in 5 shots. The common variant does about 20 damage, and then it goes up to 21 with the uncommon and 22 with the rare, which will be a little bit more useful on shielded opponents, but it's definitely a lot better. You'll usually save about 1 shot, and I don't know yet if that's really gonna make it a good weapon. I used it a tiny bit just because I had to, and it did seem different, but yeah, there's a suppressor buff, so definitely check that out. You might actually like the weapon now, but still, it's not near as good as the brand new burst rifles. And actually comment down below what you guys think of the burst rifles, if you've tried them out yet, if you're excited to try them out, if you think they're gonna be like on par with the Scar. Leave those comments down below. Now the next one, this is one that is super funny because it has to do with tilted towers and a change that is made to it. And actually we gotta figure out if this has to do with like the season and stuff like that. Maybe it's a clue towards something in the future. I don't know right now, but we're gonna figure out more of this. Alright, so basically you guys know that in tilted towers a meteor hit part of the building towards the very center, and it left this giant crater. There was a bunch of the hop rocks around it, and it was one of my favorite places to go and get some hop rocks. Well, now if you go to that exact same crater, as you can see in this clip right here that I recorded, it's been paved over and covered up. That's right. Now I'm pretty sure it's the only crater that's been covered up. Don't quote me on that. I did check a couple of the other ones, but not all of them. But for sure, this one's been covered up. All of the cars have been moved around too, and this doesn't mean that the hop rocks are gone. I actually was able to find them in the back of this truck right here. They're like all concentrated in here. So if you still want hop rocks in Tilted, you can grab them from that truck. But it is definitely interesting that they decided to change Tilted and not change any of the other locations. So what exactly does that mean? Is it going to be something to do with like these superheroes and the story that's being told through this season? I'm not exactly sure, but it definitely does mean something. So we're going to have to figure that out in a separate video, but either way, it's one of those interesting things that was secretly changed. Now, as for the third thing on this list, this one is really good for like anybody using an AR. So basically, it has to do with increased damage fall off, which kind of sounds like a bad thing when you read it out there, but it's actually a good thing. That basically means that, you know how when you shoot somebody from far away with an AR, it does less damage than up close? Well, basically what this means is that you can do that full damage a little bit farther than you could in the past. So in the past, the fall off began at 24 meters, and now it is at 28 meters, which is a significant change. You'll definitely be able to notice it, and I mean, you're not really going to be able to tell where it was and where it is now, but you will feel it. You will feel that you're doing a bit more damage at range, and then this also affects the damage reduction at range as well, such as like damage reduced to 85% at 47.5 meters when it was 80% at 35 meters. That's 12.5 meters, so yeah, you're definitely going to be feeling a difference in your ARs, and now it makes it more viable to shoot enemies from far away instead of maybe rushing in a little bit and trying to get a bit closer so you can get that full damage. So keep that in mind. When you are rushing, far away AR shots are going to be quite a bit more useful now. And then you can also see the other specifics right here, but I'm not going to go too far into it right now. But as for the fourth thing on this list, this is actually a brand new setting in the settings menu, which is a pretty interesting change. I don't know if it's exactly useful, but it is basically auto weapon pickup, which if it sounds familiar, that's because it is very similar to the like auto pickup feature that is already in the game. The feature that lets you pick up ammo and like consumable stuff like that just automatically by running over it. Well, this is the same exact thing, but with weapons. So as you can see here, you just go into your settings, you go down towards the bottom a little bit, and you can find the option right here to turn on or off the auto weapon pickup. Now again, does that sound very useful? Well, no, it does not. Not to me, at least. Maybe it does to you, and leave a comment down below if it does sound useful to you, because I am curious what you guys have to say about it. But for me, personally, when I'm picking up weapons like looting a house, I don't want to pick up everything right away, because it just kind of makes a mess in my inventory a little bit. Like if I get a bush from a chest, I want that to stay there. I'm not going to be using that anytime soon. So for me, personally, I don't think it's that useful, but if you guys want to check it out, you can do that through the options right now. And by the way, guys, if you haven't yet, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because I am planning on doing more of these as soon as more updates are announced, and you definitely don't want to miss them. But as for number 5, this one makes me a bit mad, alright? This one sucks, and I don't know why they changed it. Nobody was really complaining about it as far as I can tell, but they nerfed the damage traps. That's right, the spike traps that you would put all over the map, you know, try and get some trap eliminations with them. They are now nerfed. Now, how exactly are they nerfed, and is it, you know, maybe a small change? Well, no, it's not. It's a pretty big change. The damage traps used to do 125 damage, which would eliminate somebody without shields, or like with one mini it would knock them out, but now it is reduced to 75, which means if somebody doesn't have shields, they're still going to be able to run through that trap and not get finished off, which is super unfortunate. I don't really like that. I think the damage traps are already used pretty rarely, so when you do get, you know, an elimination with them, it feels really rewarding, but that's going to be a lot less now because it's a lot harder to hide 2 traps at once and do significant damage to knock somebody with your trap. So I don't know about that one. Do you guys like that one as well? Do you think it's weird? I definitely think it's weird, but and one other thing, also the reset time has been decreased from 6 seconds to 5 seconds, which makes it go off a little bit faster, but that's not really useful. So yeah, that one kind of sucks, but moving on to number 6, this one I like quite a bit. It is the consumable apples. That's right. Now I know that sounds really weird because there was nothing talked about this. Not a single thing, and we all knew about the FAMAS coming, or the burst rifle, but we did not know about these brand new apples, and basically, to put it simply before I give you the specifics, they act a lot like hop rocks. They're found on the map themselves, and they can't be picked up, but they can be consumed when you need them. So where exactly do you find these things, and what do they do? Well, first of all, since they're apples, you can find them around a bunch of trees on the map. Now I'm not 100% sure about which trees, but it seems to be completely random that they can spawn under trees, but I do believe that they don't spawn under like the big giant trees, you know, the really thick ones that you find in like Wailing Woods, and also the giant ones in Moisty Mire. I don't think they can spawn under those. I do instead think they can spawn under like the smaller ones that give you about like 30 wood when you break them down. They can spawn under those, and as you can see in this clip, here is a few of them on the ground right here under those select trees. Now when you go to consume these, what they do is actually heal you, but they heal you only a tiny bit. They heal you only 5 HP each time you consume one, but that can be super useful if you're running at like 75 health. So as you can see, like in this clip right here, I'm picking up a bunch of them, and I get to 100 health because I had some of those apples on the ground. It's a super useful thing, and if you do want to find some of these yourselves, I would recommend going to this place where I am on the map, right next to Tomato Town. There's a bunch of these trees right next to each other, and a bunch of apples spawn there, so I think it would be a good spot to find them. But yeah, do you guys like these new additions of like consumable items like the hop rocks, the apples, and eventually we're probably gonna have a lot more of this stuff in the game? Leave your comments down below, and maybe like what idea you have for a future consumable. I don't know, maybe like a damage orb that you can pick up or something. I don't really know, but I think there could be some room for some very, very cool additions, and I'm excited to see what Epic Games has in store in terms of that stuff. But let's move on to the next one on the list. I believe we have 2 more, and they're pretty interesting. So the first of which has to do with accuracy. The accuracy reset speed buff, actually. So yeah, I don't believe this has to do with first shot accuracy. That's what I was thinking it meant, but I'm pretty sure it actually means something different, which is unfortunate because first shot accuracy, I did like it in the past when it was a little bit faster, and now it feels like it takes a little bit longer. But the way that Epic Games puts it is that this increased accuracy reset speed by 25% means that this will decrease the penalty during continuous fire, which should mean that when you're like holding down the trigger for your AR and it's just continuously firing, or you're pressing it as fast as you want, it should make those shots a lot more accurate between them by, you know, 25%. So I think that like spread, like, you know, when you shoot and it spreads outwards, and then you shoot again and it spreads outward again, and you know, you get a little bit less accurate. I think this should help with that, and you're overall going to be a bit more accurate at range. So that I am interested in playing around with a little bit more. We've definitely been getting a bunch of like awesome different changes to guns to make them be a little more successful in the game. So I'm curious to play around with it and see just how that affects the gameplay and the flow of the game itself. But moving on to the final secret change in this video. This one is just kind of a funny one that I didn't even know was possible, alright? And I think a lot of you guys didn't even know it was possible as well, but apparently they fixed it. They fixed this thing right here, that apparently remote explosives can no longer destroy the big giant meteor in Dusty Divot. Did you guys know that was even possible? I sure did not. I believe you could have destroyed it with a portafort, and you might actually still be able to, but I did not know that you could destroy it with C4. Who was the one that figured that out? Who was the one that threw C4 on the meteor in the middle of the map? But apparently that was a thing in the game, and now you can't do it anymore. And also with remote explosives, there was a couple of extra changes that I'll go over real quick, such as now they will damage all structures within their range, so not just like the ones that are visible. They can now blow up walls behind the walls that they already blow up. There's no like hiding behind it, which is going to be play out a little bit weird. I'm not quite sure how that's going to work, so we'll have to see. And also they say the damage radius and throw distance have been increased, and that the delay between sequential explosions has been reduced from 0.25 seconds to 0.175, which makes it a lot faster, and still pretty, I don't know, not that useful, but you know, maybe for blowing up people's bases. Actually, that should be super useful for blowing up people's bases, especially if you throw it at like, you know, the bottom of their fort, and if it can go through multiple layers of it, that actually will be pretty legit. I'll have to try that out and report back to you guys. But yeah, with that out of the way, that is the final thing for this video, so I hope you enjoyed it, and if you guys are new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button right in the center of the screen for more videos just like this coming up in the near future. Along with that, you can check out the video on the left, which is a full guide to the week 3 challenges, and then on the right, an awesome top 15 from the community. But other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.